Good morning, Jay.
What's up, Mr. Montero?
How you doing, man?
Good, good.
You see this Palo Alto Networks?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I saw it last night, actually. Why is it getting completely demolished? Let me see.
Yeah, they're. I mean, it's 274 now. I think this thing is probably. They can kind of bounce this thing anywhere now, but the 200 looks like a good spot for it to go test.
Wow. What they miss bed? Oh, it was guidance, right? I
It
remember
was
hearing last night.
guidance. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
guidance.
Oh, price to perfection, right?
Yeah, you never know when they're going to decide that it is priced to perfection. This was a good one, though. I mean,
Yeah.
there should be
Well,
some other
also you
names.
have to get the. I mean, if we knew they were going to miss guidance, that'd be nice. If they were going to guide lower.
Well, that's just it. Like, how do you know what the guy's going to say? So it's a coin toss, right? You had good probability of puts working,
Yep.
similar to the Nike trade that we had. Like you look at that, you're like, okay, but I could see him bring it down to like this little gap fill area, call it 345 ish. But for them to take it out back like this and just beat it like it's a freaking
Here we
petulant
go.
stepchild is that's crazy. Um,
Yep.
but hey, if they say the space is getting commoditized and they need to retool to be more competitive, that could be trouble for the entire space.
Interesting.
CrowdStrike is selling off this morning. They have earnings March 5th. So
Oh, they have earnings
um,
March 5th. You know what? The long side of crowd into earnings is probably worth a bet now
right,
because they're going to
yeah, yeah,
price
yeah.
in all the shit here, right?
Well, you have a little bit of time. I don't think you need to make a trade, first thing in the morning on the crowd.
Yeah,
Yeah, you,
yeah,
you probably want to
definitely.
keep an eye on this Palo Alto networks and see what happens. But um,
Oh, what's today?
there's
Tuesday?
a
Tuesday, right? Yeah.
wait. Say it again.
What's today? Today is Tuesday or
Oh no,
Wednesday?
today's
No,
Wednesday, the
Wednesday.
21st.
God
Yeah,
damn.
we lost a day.
Uh, so what are we saying now?
Um, on this Palo Alto networks, like if you're looking at CrowdStrike, at some point you got to think somewhere somebody looks at it and says, okay, enough is enough. Let's step in and start trying to buy some here. Or is this really the beginning of something more sinister? It doesn't seem like it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is all good because and I think to your point, the issue that, and this is the problem I think a lot of people face when you do get these pullbacks finally in names you are looking for an entry.
Yep.
It may take time, right? I think that's the key that you hit on as soon as you started when we were talking about this PANW. You could find an entry at some point if you still believe in the company, you still like the company, especially longer term. But you got to understand that it might need a period of time where it digests. I'll give you an example: SMCI, and
Mm-hmm.
some people may not remember this. After its initial run, okay, when nobody
Yep.
really knew about it, it had a big
Yep.
move. Um, what put a halt to that rally was not a miss of earnings, but they came in and guided a bit lower than and what was expected. Okay,
Yeah.
so again, the expectations continue to go higher as the stock goes higher, and it gets to a point where at some point the company is not going to be able to meet those expectations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And SMCI went into, and it stands out like a sore thumb right before this parabolic move.
Yep.
Literally, it was like what was it, a 4 or 5 month consolidation period where it just was
Yeah.
range
Yeah.
bound and frustrated. Remember how frustrating that stock was? If you were looking for a breakout in it, we used to talk about it all
Well,
the time.
I remember it was me and Sahil and maybe one or two other guys in the room that were in the SMCI, back in back here in like May of 23, and we were trading this and thinking that the run up that it had to 350 was absolutely stunning and amazing. And then yes, that sideways action, we all kind of turned our back on it for a little while, and then when it woke up, we started to get involved again. But yeah, that
Yep.
was a very long consolidation period.
So to the point that you made earlier, a lot of times it happens often. These big winners, especially when these are real companies with real growth, they hit a little block and then they got to consolidate, digest. But ultimately, especially for intermediate, longer term stuff, those are the spots where you want to. If you believe in the name, you like the name, you were looking for an entry. That's where you want to start looking. But to Ranchero's point, it may take time. It doesn't have to, but it may take time. Usually, when there's a hiccup.
Wise in the room is asking me if Palo Alto Networks would meet the criteria for a condor, not on day one after earnings. You got to let it settle, and if it can find a range and it trades sideways, then yes. But you don't try and make that kind of a call, nor do you look for that kind of a trade the day after earnings when it's going to be down 100 points. So
Yeah.
that's you gotta let them clear the decks first, and then see what happens after the dust settles.
Yeah, and you don't have to listen. You don't have to catch the exact low to make money on the long side on these
For
things.
sure.
Right? So to Ranchero's point, you let it digest, let the volume calm down, let everything, because you never know these crowded names. There could be some real deal selling still to come, and they may overshoot to the downside a bit. That's totally normal. So let it digest, see where it finds some support, where buyers start to show up, and then you can reevaluate. But I agree 100%. Today is going to be a tough day to get involved in this thing.
Oh
Um,
gosh, yeah.
unless
Unless
yeah,
you got
unless things line
we
up.
got some guys in the room that I think. Well, I know Ozzy took a nice size position in Palo Alto Networks puts, so he's got to work his way out of those puts
Oof,
this morning. But he's going to have a really nice day.
wow.
Um, and then you got Nvidia and the Fed on deck, and the
Wait,
VIX kind of crept up right
Nvidia reports earnings today.
after the
I'm
bell.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I had a pre Nvidia earnings party last night at the crib. We had a bash. That's why I'm tired this morning.
I I
Too
was
much.
having a discussion with my kid last night, and he was just like, he's like, okay, we're shorting Nvidia, right? And I was like, what? I was like, the market doesn't care about your fundamental analysis. I'm like,
He follows. Your kid follow the market pretty
yeah,
regularly.
he does,
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
he's very very sharp. He does have a really good analytical mind. His work and his training is more for evaluating risk, right? So he's looking at Nvidia, and he's like, this thing is so overvalued, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your analysis says. What matters is the result and the guide, and then what do the buyers and sellers think of it. That's what
Yeah.
matters. So it was like, your whatever your number is, it doesn't matter. It does not matter one bit. And he's having a hard time
Well, at
accepting.
least you could talk to. At least you could talk to your children about. And now they're grown, obviously, but about the market. My 15-year-old wisest daughter gave me a little. She gave me the business when I tried to explain to what I actually do. She's like, "Oh, so let me get this straight, Dad. You're basically just picking whether a bunch of letters go up or down every day." Oh, yeah, really interesting. That's really interesting. I want to learn about that. And when I
That's
started to think about it, I
hilarious.
mean, basically that's what we do, right?
Yeah,
That's all we do.
100%.
So she didn't seem too interested, but she's young yet. If I cut off the money supply to her, she'll see how quick she'll be interested. Spoiled
Yeah, they
generation.
always get they always get interested then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now they want to be YouTube stars and gamers
Celebs.
and all this. Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't blame them. That's where the money's at. That's where the money's at. So what else we got this morning besides Nvidia earnings and we got Fed minutes? Anything else of interest today?
I
Probably
mean,
not, right?
did you see they've crept VIX up a little bit here.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting post Fed minutes. I would definitely keep an eye on that. You do. The problem is this Nvidia earnings gets in the middle of
Hmm.
anything you want to hold overnight, but post Fed minutes, if you see some unwind of this VIX, even if it's not a complete unwind, just on an intraday basis, you could probably catch something on the long side, intraday. And to the opposite side, if VIX catches a bid, and we see some more VIX buying post Fed minutes. Those of you playing the short side probably find some nice momentum. So we could see some action off those Fed minutes. What's interesting, I think the talk out there right now is just how crowded positioning has become on some of these pockets of the market, and it's only normal when you see a little bit of selling, even though it may not mean anything initially, right? 1-2 days of selling of stocks that have been going up 30 straight days. What people are concerned about is if people decide to unwind some of this exposure they have, which is a lot of it, it could cascade and snowball to the downside, especially in some of these more crowded issues. But what I think we're seeing that's pretty constructive, if you look, we're starting to see some digestion in overheated things out there. Not everything, but we're starting to see some digestion. The semis have digested a bit in recent days. Some of the tech names, obviously, the Magnificent Seven, I saw from one of the Goldman notes, exposure, believe it or not, has actually come down over the past week or two. So they're taking some exposure off there. They're extremely crowded in those names. So listen, there's more to possibly come if things get dicey to the downside, but you still need some help from the market gods if you're bearish here. I think the systematic levels are around. Last I checked, we'll probably get an update on it, but around 4,800, 4,850 on SPX. So in simple English, if you get SPX trading below those levels, and will coincide with that would be a higher VIX. A lot of these systematic funds, again, they're not making choices, just automatically are going to unwind some of that long exposure and a larger amount. So that's the key number now. A lot of these CTA models are keeping an eye on SPX 4,800, 4,850, where things can get a little dicey. But above that, these systematic funds aren't really much of a factor here. So something to keep an eye on the rest of the week, especially with NVIDIA and the Fed minutes on the doorstep.
You've got that Intel meeting today.
Oh, yeah, forgot about that. When is that?
Yeah, that's at 8:30 Pacific.
8:30 Pacific. So that's 11:30, right?
Yeah, there was a shitload of buying yesterday.
Yeah, so those on the, what do you call it again? The pub? What do you call the crowd that's not Steamroom affiliated members?
Oh, I call them Gen Pop.
Gen Pop, pub. So for those of you who weren't around yesterday in the Steam Room, Intel they hit a few lines, but April 50s got absolutely tattooed. They were tattooed in the morning, actually. Yeah.
Yep.
You guys probably seen it early morning. They were buying it. And then all throughout the day, we found out that there is some sort of catalyst today. Ranchero, you could talk about it a little bit more. They did hit some March lines and weekly lines. I'll post the open interest here so you guys could see it. But maybe Ranchero, share a little bit about what's going on with Intel this morning.
So there's a couple of things that are pending. One of them is that there's the potential for the government to outlay $10 billion worth of investment into the fab, and Intel's talking about how their chips are going to integrate with AI, and they're partnering with who they say, I forgot who they said they were partnering with. Where's GJT?
Yeah.
I want to say NVIDIA, but he put up a couple of blurbs on it yesterday. So, but the Intel looks like it's going to be interesting. So we'll get that information this morning as well.
You got a little sell side mock moo, whatever they call it, off the open.
Let's see on this Palo Alto Networks. So,
all
right, Aussie. So these 342.5s, Aussie, opened up about where I thought they would. They're 10 wide right now. So if you're going to start coming out of them, remember, start coming out of them in 10 lots at the mark, minus 25 or 50 cents. See how quickly you get filled. And if they fill you immediately, start ratcheting up that number. Ozzy's got a nice fat size position there.
Yeah, so now he shouldn't have trouble coming. He's just got to come out in pieces, right? Otherwise, they'll just whop him.
I was trying to help him with that, and instead of just lumping down 100 contracts, you start coming out in 10 lots, so it makes it easier for the market maker to digest, and you can get better fills.
Yeah. They'll try to rob you any opportunity they get.
Yeah, of course they will. Yeah, Silver's nice job. How many did you have? It should be. So Silver's out of his 300 puts from 33 cents to
Nice,
30 and a half. That's a great trade. Ozzy, they're making the bid-ask spread better on these 342 and a halves. So now it's only a couple of bucks wide. You should be able to go at the mark.
You got some
So
weekly
Ozzy got
300.
into Ozzy bought his 342 and a halves at 10 bucks. They're trading 72 on the bid right now. So
Jesus
he's having a massive day. Ozzy's got you beat today, Silvers.
So, what do you put into those? He said dollar amount?
He bought his 342 and a halves at 10. They're trading 72 bid right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, massive win. And I see the volume on there of 50 contracts, so he's coming out of it nicely.
See now, if he plays it smart, Ozzy, he's got some nice cushion to, if he manages that bankroll. But knowing him, he's nuts. He'll take all that money and throw it into something else in 2 seconds.
Well, what I was trying to help him with this morning was just to bank it first. Bank it first and then take a pause. He's also got a bunch of Airbnb to the short side, which currently is working. Maybe he gets that down to 138-ish. That'd be a nice score for him too. Yeah, Silvers, if you already scored, however, what you know what I mean, you would look to roll. So if you want 255, okay, fine. But let's say you've already banked 70 points or 60 points, right? 65 points. You're picking at scraps, right? So just roll to a lotto with part of your profits and see if it gets to that number. But from here to just go shooting at it becomes a little bit more of a fool's errand. Ozzy, looks like you're out. I see 100 contracts traded. Well done. So Ozzy just had a $700,000 morning. That's a nice morning.
Sure is.
Very nice morning. Ozzy, well managed. You did a great job managing that on the way out. Nice job, dude. Very, very good. Now you can turn your attention to other shit. That Amazon got added to or is going to get added to the Dow, and
the Dow,
is kind of a nothing burger here.
Yeah, it was you had some green early on after the news last night, and you know what's going on? This Bezos selling, I think, is playing a part in the weakness where he's made it known he's unloading stock, and a lot of times when big names do that, what they do is they won't run the stock into his selling. They'll wait for that selling to stop, and then
Yep.
they'll move the stock. So he
Yep.
made, I think, what was the amount? 50 million. I posted it this morning. Hold on, I could dig
50
it up.
billion with a B.
50, oh, shares. I was saying. Oh, 50. Wait,
Oh,
$50 billion worth. You mean?
yeah.
There's the, oh, $50 billion worth. Okay.
Bezos cashes out 8.5 billion from Amazon share sale. Bezos sold 50 million shares in Amazon this month, cashing out some
Oh, that's what I
8.5
was thinking.
billion.
Yeah, that's what I was
Amazon,
thinking.
which Bezos founded, said in its annual report that Bezos planned to sell up to 50 million shares until January next year, subject to certain conditions. So yeah, you're right.
Gotcha.
50 million shares, not 50 billion.
50 million. Yeah.
But he's still going to have a lot of stock. It's more psychological to people than anything else.
Yeah,
People
that's
hear
that's
that
what it
number
is.
and they're like, "Oh my god, well he's getting out, right?" Like,
Yep.
put it in
And
perspective to
think
what
of
he
it
actually
logically
has.
though. If you know supply that's coming into the market, right? Whatever it means, right? You know of a known
Yep.
seller. Why would you buy into that seller? Let them knock down the stock and buy it there, right? You
Yep.
understand? So that's like the attitude right now. So we'll see how much it knocks it down, but that's kind of weighing on the stock.
Ozzy, well done, dude. I'm looking. Ozzy just posted his trade, so Ozzy just cashed out 617K. That's a really nice trade, Ozzy. And look at how you. I'm looking at your executions. You handled it perfectly. You laddered your way out of that perfectly. That's how you're supposed to do it. Good job. Now he can take a breath. You can power down the defibrillator now, Ozzy.
Ah, the defibrillator, percolator. Soon has
Percolator.
been active. I saw some more bullshit AI news in that soon. Nvidia reports today. Later on, maybe they're hoping they mention soon in the report, and that's why the stock, I guess, is active. You got a little weekly activity there in soon this morning. The $4 calls. These cheap bets this morning. Procter Gamble. This was the strongest group yesterday. The staples. You got PG catching some spec action. Did they report yet? Let me see. Yeah, they reported. You got lottos here. Weekly lottos in Procter and Gamble. The 162 and a half.
Yeah, Ozzy just made a new house. Not where I live. I get you an ADU where I live. Half of an ADU.
I mean, listen, I hate to sound like the guy who's going to rain on the parade here in corny, but it's about holding on to that money. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
100%.
It's not.
100%.
And people may take this the wrong way. It's not that difficult to make a big score. You lean into something pretty aggressively, roll the dice, and it
Yep.
clicks. You make a big score. Holding
Yep.
on to it, that's a different story.
Right.
You know. But
Yep.
again,
I agree.
I mean, you could throw tomatoes at me now.
No, it's
Nobody
not.
wants to hear that shit.
It's not just about the big score.
No, again, people like, and you see it a lot on social media. People posting, and I'm not saying Ozzy in any way does that because he talks about his losers as much as his winners. But
Yep.
you see on social media people posting these big P&L scores. It really is. It's not that hard to make a score, guys. You flip a coin, but lean into it pretty aggressively, and if it works out, you make a score. Then you show it. It's not that hard. But holding on to that money and net coming out a winner, that's where it takes a little work.
Yep, agreed.
Tesla, looks like they're rolling out some puts here. That's a Bitcoin play. Bitcoin, a little bit of selling too today, right? Let's see, what are we down in Bitcoin? I can't believe I talk about Bitcoin this much these days. I need my head examined. Yeah, down over 1,000 Bitcoin. Still looks like it's just consolidation after that rip. Doesn't look like anything major yet. Off that niner. Kind of looks like a healthy breather to me off that niner. That was a big rip.
I mean, I'm looking at this and thinking a pause is not out of the ordinary here. I think everything is holding its breath for NVIDIA.
Yeah, I mean, it was the inevitable. It was the inevitable that you're going to run into some sort of pause.
Yeah.
A lot of us thought it was going to happen a lot sooner than it did.
I'll review condors. There's going to be some good condor setups. And I'm unlikely to take any condors on anything that could be impacted by NVIDIA. So just keep that in mind. But there are some good setups hanging around out there that we'll look at today.
To get you riled up this morning, Mr. Ronchero, your commie pals in China banned, I think they locked up and hung by their bulls short sellers. And so nobody could short stock in all of China. And the
So
markets
bad.
were ripping. BABA up about 4% today. So if you get caught shorting on the short side, we should do that here. I would love to see that over here. You know, death penalty for anybody who shorts. For any perma bear. BTNR, what's this, energy?
Ozzy, you've been having audits for like the last fucking 30 days, haven't you? They've been sitting in your colon with a freaking lawn chair.
Oh, they have earnings 228. AMD, a little bit of put action protection
Oh
for
Jesus,
NVIDIA
guys, look at
earnings.
Ulta. Ulta is still going. Ulta don't give a fuck.
Ulta is good stock. The women know how to spend their money, Ranchero.
Yes, they do. How's Elf doing? Elf chugging right along too? No, not as good. Trigger on CDNS.
Alert.
Crossing down. All right, so that's selling off a little bit. Right down to the year-to-date anchor. This is right where the put seller showed up yesterday.
Which one? Oh, Cadence, right?
Cadence. Yep.
Yeah, you get the semis right at, I guess, the lows of yesterday again.
Silvers, how many are you trying to close all 50 at once? If you're trying to close all 50 at once, that's why you're getting a middle finger. You're in April 17 and a halves. Let me take a look. There's no liquidity. There's zero liquidity there. So $1.95 by 3, go at the mark minus 25%, or minus 25 cents. So now your bid is 2 by 290. So they're trying to tighten it up a little bit. 2 by 285. Just keep dangling a 5 lot out there at the mark and then throw another fives. Here's your bid tightening up. So whatever if you're throwing an order out there, that bid ask spread is starting to tighten up. And put multiple orders out there. Don't put just one order out there. Eventually you'll find where you're going to get filled. If you get 235 out of that trade, you should get filled at 235. $1.35? Why would you put $1.35 if the bid's 215? They can't not see. Here's the other thing. If a market order on a 10 lot or less is going to be auto X. They have to fill you at 215 or better. I'm looking at April 17.5 puts. Are you in puts or calls? Calls. You're in the calls. All right, 95 by 115. You should be able to get at least $1 out of that.
EXC. Oh, they had earnings. Utility. Up nice today. Another hot stock underbelly growth that we've seen a ton of flow in, had a huge move. VRT off the lows this morning, but some selling there off earnings. I didn't really look at the report yet. I don't know what went on, but stock has run a long way. NVTS. That's on a little guy, semiconductor. Nancy, Victor, Tom, Sam. Some unusual activity before earnings there.
I'm really not doing too much in front of this Intel meeting. I want to see what happens with this. How's my Riley doing? I've got, let me see what I've got here.
Oh, they're going to report this week too, Riley. Keep forgetting that.
Today, I think, right? Is it today or tomorrow?
Today after the bell, I think.
I think so.
21st. Yeah.
Yeah, today. Yeah, so I've got some, obviously the long-term longs in the Amazon and the Costco. I got a little Cadence. I got a little Intel, and I've got a position on Riley. That's what I've got right now. And I don't feel like doing too much in front of this NVIDIA number. Just seems like a lot of treading water, only to find out the end result later. Have they hit the Intels again this morning or not? Or are they left it alone?
I saw a little bit of volume. I'll check. Let's see if any volume there early. A little bit. You got 2,000 traded on that April line and some March calls.
Oh yeah, the 50s. What am I in? What did I buy? Oh, I bought the 48s. I bought the 48s with Kelman.
For March or April?
April.
Oh, April. Oh, so you got time there too.
April 48s.
Yeah.
Yeah, but looking for the move today.
Yeah. Had a decent close yesterday. Right, ended up a buck, I think, when it was all said and done. It's another drug stock. What is this? I think it's a drug stock. Let's see. Oh, that's up huge.
What you looking at?
No, this VTYX. I think it's a drug stock. Seeing a little flow into strength there.
VTYX,
Yeah.
Ventix Biosciences.
Yep, that's a drug stock. Oh, look at that chart. Jesus Christ, that thing
It looks
rose from the dead.
that looks really good.
Look at it,
I'm looking at it.
rose from the dead.
Tesla had a nice move this morning.
Oh
Stock
yeah,
is bipolar.
yeah, foreign change. Tesla. Nothing really going on here off the open. Some pre-earnings flow and a few names. Oh, what the heck? Let me refresh this. Yesterday, there were a few isolated bets, maybe names to keep an eye on into a pull. As far as top bets, Intel was the most aggressive action on the day, those April specs. Otherwise, pretty quiet. We were looking for some clues or signs of rotation, but nothing really out there yesterday. Those VST calls, repeat buyer there yesterday. They stuck to open interest. I looked this morning.
Who else had earnings last night? Toll had earnings last night. That's getting a nice little pop up here this morning.
What do they look like as a whole? Let me see the home builders. I haven't looked at them in a while. Let's hit XHB. Yeah, they've just been chopping around here a little bit. Let's see, Pulte. Yeah, almost like consolidating here.
I shouldn't have given up on the Walmart short yesterday. I liked, and I didn't take it, and that's getting paid
Oh,
today.
yeah, into the strength, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, the home builders, you got some decent consolidation there. And now they're done reporting. I mean, they've been on fire. They needed to breathe.
Didn't we see some buying in Google yesterday?
Google, we might have spec action, short-term action.
There's just not a lot going on in front of this NVIDIA number. If they hammer this thing tonight in the after hours, I mean, year-to-date anchor gets you down to 621-ish. That's a possibility. I'm not playing for that. And if they crush it and guide higher, you probably open at the highs again.
It's interesting that it got a little pull here ahead of numbers, right?
Right.
Usually they goes in into the number at the highs a lot of times.
Well, and that's that's why I'm trying to put my freaking secret decoder hat on with the CDNS. If I see guys and look, they bounced it right off of the year-to-date anchor again this morning, right? I'm like, all right, if you're selling puts there and you're buying calls, like you're signaling to me, you know something.
Yeah. They're looking, and plus they're looking at the same shit. You know something. They're looking at the same shit you're looking at,
Fair enough. Yep. How's the SMCI is gonna resting right now? It's resting phase.
Coke, some more flow there. Again, staples have been hot the past couple days. KO.
Oh yeah.
Let's see what stuck yesterday. Eh,
I'll bet it's
not even
slightly less attractive sister Pepsi.
funny too, because I just read something that people are buying less soda because of Lucci's drug over there.
I mean, you didn't need Ozempic to know that drinking fucking
True.
soda is not good for you.
All right. But now you puke it up on Ozempic if you drink
Yep.
it. So that's the difference. Mike Burry selling some puts again. The QRTEA. This is an interesting little spec name.
What's the ticker? QRTEA?
QRTEA.
That's a lot of fucking letters.
I know.
Liberty Interactive Corporation. Oh,
You know what this is?
he likes
QVC.
he likes it's QVC?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that is an interesting little breakout there.
Yeah, and it's a profitable company. They've had headaches. They've been looking to sell this company for ages. But the what is it? The 13D came out the other day, and he's got a position in it. But it has been moving, probably off the news of him taking a position in it. I think he got earnings coming up there too. FYI,
I hate when they have these structures and crap in here. The announces semi-annual interest payment and regular additional distribution on a 3.75% senior exchangeable debenture due 2030. Like, fuck off with that. Are you kidding me?
Any
Like,
gimmick they can borrow money.
Stop playing games.
This was one of the names. Saw some repeat buying off a dip yesterday. Coherent, COHR. They've been buying dips in this name going back to late last year. You got Jan 2026 75. So some more leap buying there in COHR.
That doesn't look bad.
Yeah, it does look good. Yeah, same line as yesterday. They added almost 1,000 of these yesterday. It was on the top bet list.
Dave, what's interesting about the Gex rate today on Amazon? What's your takeaway? You talking about the put wall moving up and starting to compress with the call wall? Because they haven't moved the call wall up. And I'm wondering if that's your observation.
What do they sell? The $3 puts, October $3 puts in this QRTEA. And what are they getting? $1.80. So is that $3.80, $1.20? Basically, that's their break even here.
Yeah, spy gigs. Hey, Norse, ask Dave if he's on the stream. Oh, that fucking cat.
Europe. Eurozone consumer confidence. You got a out of the money put seller in ON on semi, April 65s.
No kidding. Yeah, that Norse. That's what my commentary was. I was just curious if Dave was around and listening, and I was thinking the same thing as he was. That's all. All right. Well, I got an hour and a half before this Intel thing fires up, so I'm going to take a quick pause here, Jay,
Okay,
and
we'll see you in a little bit.
get the dogs fed. I'll see you in like
Go ahead.
15 minutes. All right.
When did I say they report the VTNR? They report 228. Little dollar stock. I don't know what the hell they do. Could be just some alternative energy type play. Looks like shit. Excuse my French.
That was not French.
Oh, my bad. IOVA. You got some more bull flow in that IOVA. Could be some rolling at this point. Really nice move off that news the last week. Biotech. Tesla weekly 200s. Little nibbling there. Weekly 200s leading the action this morning in Tesla.
Infosys INFY Dow Jones is going to be using some new personalization tools to allow for greater customized digital experience in the November Franklin Yankee.
And you got the VIX holding on to a little bit of green, has been Some selling off the open. VVIX flat, so nothing really going on there. Spreads, pretty quiet. Oh, insider buying at that IOVA, huh? 3 directors bought a total of 5.2 million shares, 48 million bucks. How'd they do that? Into the FDA approval? That can't be legal. Here are the active lines on that biotech this morning. Shut to think. And yesterday, I think there was rolling, but let's see. Yeah, a little bit of rolling yesterday. Looks like some adding. Here are the OI changes on that IOVA. Oh, that's is that a hot retail name? Let me see if that's a roll or not. When did that just go off? No, earlier, 9:45, September 46 calls. Oh, earnings. I saw that earlier. That's what the you got some buying in Urban Outfitters retail name before earnings too. Most of the action here pre-earnings. Little put selling out there. And a couple names. Bloomers. That's another retail name. Some of these retail names have been on fire, man. Oh, earnings there too.
So now we're seeing a big sell-off in shares of Lunar Intuitive Machines, leaving it from November Romeo. Again, the shares have been moving up sharply over recent days as we approach what's supposed to be a soft moon landing from its lunar module lander. I haven't seen yet, but the shares are coming under pressure, leaving it from November Romeo.
The a topic we've been talking about, I read, I think it was Goldman or JP Morgan, a lot of one of their desks has been seeing a lot of stock replacement in the mega caps, replacing equity positions with calls. And we've been seeing a few of those big orders go across. But they were talking about how it's a popular trade right now. Makes a lot of sense. That's why it's just not a lot of edge in these names at all. Overpopulated. Micron May 82 and a halves opening bet. That's not a bad looking order there. $500,000. That's about average size for Micron. Micron will probably benefit if we do see that rotation into cyclicals. I think Intel too would benefit from that. You do have a nice pullback on that Micron last couple of weeks. As many of you know, when sweepers want that name, they could come after it rather aggressively. What are these? Put sales? Payo? What is Payo?
Celestica CLS getting an upgraded S&P to a double B from a double B minus. Outlook stable. Charlie Lima Sierra.
Been a lot of buying in that name over the past year. CLS. Look at that VRT. They sucked up that weakness over there. Could use some digestion, though. Maybe chops around here for a bit. Squeezometer down a notch. Anti-VIX. Nothing doing yet. Some more puts in Riley. Looking to break that longer term support there. Well, they got earnings, so one way or the other, something's going to go on. Either going to squeeze, news not going to be as bad as expected, or they're going to wipe that thing out once and for all, put it out of its misery. A little repeat bet in that RXRX. That's probably NVIDIA, right? Ahead of NVIDIA. Similar to Soon. A lot of cheap shit out here right now. See, as earnings season winds down, already we're seeing cleaner action. And look, you take out some of the pre-earnings flow this morning. Right? You take those names out of the equation, you don't really have much going on. Micron is the only legit bet out there so far. Call side.
Logic behind the company's suit of the planned sports streaming partnership between Fox, Warner Brothers, and Discovery.
Horizon, you're still in that IOVA from before that data. Would you have a basket? You had a little basket of these biotechs. You had that other one too, right? I think guy's got a horseshoe up his ass. TPR. I think that was on our growth scan the past few weeks. That's the old Coach or Cores. Hold on, let me think. TPR. This is the old Cores. I don't know why they changed the symbol. Wait, Tapestry is the old Coach? The old Coach. The old Coach, I think. Oh, man, this stock's been hot. Christ almighty, these retail names. You're right. So, looks like a little dip buying in that ALIT. That is Einhorn's stock. You got to pull off earnings there. ALIT. And we've seen some bullish activity even before we found out it was Einhorn doing the buying. March 9s. What the hell do they do? Anybody figure out what they do? ALIT? It's tech, right? Cloud-based digital human capital? What does that mean? Let's see. Open interest. Probably the whole Einhorn syndicate been doing all the buying in this thing. May 10s. That's the line they opened largest open interest in initially, and then you got March 10s, and now they're buying March 9s. Fuck, what did I do? Oh. You got some activist chatter, another retail name, Foot Locker, FL. We'll keep an eye on that vol unwind post Fed minutes, possibly, or the opposite. But I think we can cue off that maybe for some intraday momentum. Nothing really out of the credit markets indicating chop in equities.
Reportedly, the largest grouping in Polish government to submit a preliminary motion to put the central bank's governor Glapinski before the state tribunal by the end of March for the Polish central bank.
Cosmos Health. right, you got some adding in Micron, 3,400 total now on that line. Iova, some more call activity there as well, repeat activity. Ah, fuck.
Hey, Jay, I was going to go over that. I pulled up that Intel blurb that we had yesterday.
What's that? What do you mean blurb?
So GJT posted in the room yesterday, beginning at 8:30 a.m. Pacific. The keynote features Pat Gelsinger, CEO of Intel, and Stuart Pan, Senior VP, General Manager of Intel Foundry Services. They'll unveil how the company plans to transform the foundry industry and become the world's first and only fully integrated systems foundry for the AI era. So that has potential. And Intel could receive over $10 billion in subsidies from the U.S. government under the CHIPS and Science Act, and that was reported by Bloomberg. Per the report, the Biden administration is currently in talks regarding allocating funds to Intel. The subsidy package under consideration is expected to include both loans and direct grants.
SU, that's earnings. Interesting. STX, they usually trade alongside Micron, same group. You got weekly puts there in STX. Micron, best looking action of the morning in May calls. So these are weeklies in the put side STX.
We got about a minute before we wrap up on the public stream, Jay. So I'm going to give a little plug for the SLMC. So starting on March 25th, the last master course, at least in this format, is going to be done. So get your questions answered from Matt. So you can email Matt at sanglucci.com about details.
Last year.
1 hour, so 1 hour into the U.S. trading session, the Dow down about 72, the S&P down 12, and as they
The IIF on emerging markets as well, they said the debt to GDP ratio hit a record last year as well, driven by increases in India, Argentina, and China.
All right, so you guys will have your precious Senga back on Friday.
He's coming back Friday?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
If he can find his way through the Darien Gap and navigate the FERC.
Oh, man. I'd like to hear what the hell he went through over there.
All right, you guys. So we'll sign off here, and don't forget the trial as well as the master course. And we'll see you guys in
Enjoy
Steamroom.
enjoy the Nvidia earnings. Riff
Yeah.
raff.
Latest.
Your pikers.